Hi, welcome to lesson 1, round whole numbers. This is going to be a review and reminder and a few strategies to help you get through this week's rounding lessons.
Now it's time to bring it around town. Bring it around town.
So, first thing with rounding is you need to know your place value. When creating place value charts, we always start with the ones place, and that goes all the way on the right. Then we have the tens. Then we have the hundreds. And we're gonna stop at thousands. But of course it goes to 10,000s, 100,000s, millions, 10 millions, 100 millions, billions. So here's our place value chart. Alaska had 18 shells. Between which two tens is 18? The number 18 is between 10 and 20. If the number was 28, that would be between 20 and 30. So since our number is 18, I drew the number line to be between 10 and 20 because that's the two tens that the number falls in between. So I'm gonna start this number line at 10. I'm gonna end this number line at 20. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I'm gonna mark the numbers 10, which I did right there. I'm gonna mark the numbers 15. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then 20. So remember, you just gotta count by tens, including zero. So 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140. When rounding to the nearest 10, you count by tens. So the number 18 is between 10 and 20. That's why I drew a number line between 10 and 20. So 15, I already marked it. So 16, 17, 18 is right here. So which number is 18 closer to if we're only looking at 10s? So we're only looking at 10 and 20. 18 is closest to 20. I don't even have to count to see that. It is fairly obvious. Look at the 18. It is way closer to the 20 than it is to the 10. So 18 rounded to the nearest 10 would be 20. That's our answer. So what if the number was 12? Well, let's say, so Alaska, that was her. Let's put an A for Alaska. Now, let's do Bob. Bob had 12 seashells. So 10, 11, 12. Is 12 rounded to the nearest 10? Is that closer to 10 or is that closer to 20? 12 is closer to 10. So Bob had about 10 seashells. Now, what about Christopher? Let's say Christopher had 15 seashells. So is 15 rounded to the nearest 10 10 or is it 20? Well, I'm sure you guys know this by now, but in case you forgot, 5 always rounds up. So remember, put your 5 high to the sky. 4 to the floor. 5 to the sky. Now, I understand that 5, or 15 really, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces away from 10, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces away from 20. But here's a couple ways you can think about it. 1, if you're halfway done painting a wall, you might as well finish. If you are walking to someone's house and you have walked halfway there, you wouldn't turn around and go back to your house, because then you're gonna have even more to walk when you decide to go. When you're halfway there, you might as well just go there. Also, rounding is usually used to help you make sure that you have enough of what you may need. You're gonna buy something, right? And you know that you have, let's say, 15 students in your class. And you're gonna go to the Dollar Tree and you're gonna buy one thing for each of those 15 students. But guess what? There's taxes. So if you bring only $15, you might not have enough to pay for what you need. So you round up and you bring $20. So that way you know for sure that you're gonna have enough money to pay for those 15 items plus taxes plus the Coke that you want at the checkout. So rounding just kind of makes things easier. Also, when you're adding and doing things like that, rounding, it's a lot easier to say, okay, that's about 20 plus about 20 plus about 10. That's $50 I'm gonna need. Whereas if you were like, okay, I need 18 plus 12 plus 11, it's harder math to do on the fly very quick when you are somewhere that's just, not the case for you. Now, I know you guys are smart and that adding regularly, like any number, is probably fine with you, but you still need to know how to round. I'm just trying to remind you, and maybe I'm making it worse by over-explaining, but that's what it is. So, if you were rounding to the nearest 10, but it's a bigger number, so let's say that the number is 210, so 212, 215, 218, 220, that's fine too, because guess what? The only numbers you really need to worry about are the tens place numbers. So it can have 100 there, but we're not even gonna look at it. We're only gonna look at the tens and the ones when rounding to the nearest 10. So if it was this case, you would make your number line from 210 to 220. So regardless, when rounding to the nearest 10, your number line is only gonna be 10 spaces. So 218 rounded to the nearest 10 would be 220. 212 rounded to the nearest 10 would be 210. I realized I didn't even do 215. Well, anyway, so 15 would be 20. So that would be 220. Another thing that you can do is our rounding wrap.
Find the place value, circle the digit, move to the right and underline it. 0 to 4, the circle stays the same, but 5 to 9, adding 1 is the game. Now flex your muscles, just like a hero. Digits to the right turn into zeros. All the other numbers stay the same. Yo, you're a winner in the rounding game. We're rounding numbers. We're rounding numbers. Oh. We're rounding numbers. We're rounding numbers. We're rounding numbers. Oh.
So let's just say that it was 212 and we want to round that to the nearest 10. So find the place value, that you're rounding to. So if we're rounding to the nearest 10, we need to find the 10. So remember, this is ones, this is tens, this is hundreds. So find the place value that you're rounding to and circle that digit. So I'm circling the 1. Move to the right and underline get it. If that number is 0 through 4, then the number stays the same. And the number that stays the same is the circled number. So we can stop right there. 1 stays the same. If it was 5 to 9, we would add 1 to this game. But it's not. So it stays the same. 1. So flex your muscles like a hero. The digit to the right changes to 0. All the other numbers stay the same. Yo, you're a winner in the rounding game. So let's say it was 215. Well, find the place value, tens, circle that digit, move to the right, underline get it, 0 through 4, the number stays the same. 5 to 9, we add 1 to the game. Guess what? It is 5. So we are going to add 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2. Flex your muscles like a hero. The digit to the right changes to 0. All the other numbers stay the same. Yo, you're a winner in the rounding game. So you can see that we get the same answer using a number line or using the wrap. I'm gonna do one more example for just, let's do 18. Find the place value, tens place, circle that digit, move to the right and underline get it. 0 through 4, the number stays the same. 5 to 9, guess what? It's an 8. So we're gonna add 1 to the game. So flex your muscles like a hero. The digit to the right changes to 0. And we have 1 plus 1, which is 2. So 18 rounds to 20. All the other numbers stay the same. Yo, you're a winner in the rounding game. All right, so now, if we're rounding to the nearest 100, that means it's either gonna be 0, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000, and it can even go more than that to be 1,100, 1,200, 1,300, so on and so forth. Let's say the number is 334. Well, I think the easiest way to round hundreds is the rounding wrap. So let's do that. So if we're rounding to the nearest 100, we need to circle our 100. So find the place value. Here it is, circle that digit. Move to the right and underline get it. 0 through 4, the number stays the same. So this number is going to stay the same. 5 to 9, we add 1 to the game. Now flex your muscles like a hero. The digits to the right change to 0. All the other numbers stay the same. Yo, you're a winner in the rounding game. Let's try another one. What if it was 1,564? You just got to remember our ones, our tens, our hundreds, and our thousands. So we are rounding to the nearest 100. So find the place value, 100, circle that digit, move to the right and underline get it. 0 through 4, the number stays the same, but 5 to 9, we gotta add 1 to the game. So 5 plus 1 is 6. So flex your muscles like a hero. The digits to the right change to 0. All the other numbers stay the same. Yo, you're a winner in the rounding game. All right, so last one. Let's say that we are rounding 654 to the nearest 100. So remember, we got ones, tens, hundreds. Find the place value, circle that digit, move to the right and underline get it. 0 through 4, the number stays the same. 5 to 9, we add 1 to the game. 6 plus 1 is 7. So flex your muscles like a hero. The digits to the right change to 0. All the other numbers stay the same. Yo, you're a winner in the rounding game. All right, so I was joking because we're gonna do one more because I just thought of an idea. So if you had, let's say, 31, and you had to round 31 to the nearest 100, well, guess what? There are no hundreds. So ones, tens, hundreds. So you'll find your place value, which is non-existent, circle that digit, move to the right and underline get it. 0 through 4, the number stays the same. So the number is 0. That's the closest 100. Now, another thing I just thought of, if you have a tape measure, let's say your mom or dad or uncle or aunt or cousin or monster or dog or worm has a tape measure, you can always use a tape measure to help you round. Especially for tens, because, well, actually you might be able to use centimeters to go to 100, but let's say we're rounding the number 20. That's not true. The number 17. So you would have to find between 10 and 20, and you can see that 17 is a lot closer to the 20. So make this visual, do it in your head. However it makes sense to you is how you need to do it. Round whole numbers. Getting the idea. Place value can help you determine how to write numbers correctly. Place value is the value of a digit based on its position in that number. A place value chart breaks down a number into individual digits to show their value. This is 1,348 in a place value chart. So we have our place value blocks. So we have our cubes, we have our flats, we have our rods, and we have our units. So 1,000 is represented by this cube. 300s, we have 1, 2, 3 flats. If you do the math, it's 10 by 10. 10 times 10 is 100. We have our tens, which is 4 tens. And we have our, how many ones? You see them right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what do you think goes right there? Now, one thing to remember is that tens, 4 tens would actually mean that it's 40 ones. 300s would be 300 ones. When you round a number, you are finding a number close to that number. The rounded number tells about how many or about how much. So then here are some examples that you can do on your own for Monday. We have Tuesday, I believe Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So we'll go over this and check it together on Zoom, I am sure. But if you have any questions, ask us. I'm sorry in advance if I over-explained, but I'm just trying to give everybody a little something. So use what works for you. All right, see ya.